Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's just get straight into it. So for yesterday we were just drawing characters for project 1, and the goal here that I laid out was to draw all the characters that I wanted to reuse from older projects and stuff like that. Just lay them all out first and then see where they would fit into the story or the setting, what roles and such. So I'm gonna do that right now by adding a few more characters that I intended to add in last time, and then from there probably would be finalizing the lineup for most of them and coloring them, I think. So we'll start off with the first male character, and this is a design from one of the projects that I had but never quite got off the ground. Let me find him. Right, this guy. Okay, so this guy, this guy's name is Gideon, and he is sort of like a kind of a strategist type of character. I don't want to say like a John character necessarily, but I guess he kind of is. But he sort of occupies that kind of role as someone who uses his smarts to fight. So I'm just trying to re-familiarize myself with this design here. I had another sketch of him. Yeah, so this is the guy right here. And I need to find the other artwork I did of him. Where can I find it? It was in this one. So if I have it here, okay. It's been a while to get back to getting used to drawing him. Character was originally, well, he was in a lot of different story ideas, but one of them was this sort of idea of like a paranormal school, meaning like it's like a sort of school where people like werewolves, vampires, zombies would go to, and he's like one of the humans there. So, and another one which is sort of like actually an esports focused story where he was one of the players. So he's been sort of sitting around in my head for a while now, and I quite like this design, so perhaps I may get another opportunity to use him here. Okay. So then in this actually. Okay. It's been a while since I drew him. Get him some used to, get back in the groove of things. Actually, it's been quite a while since I drew a male character at all. See. Doesn't quite have the same shape to his hair that I liked. I think it's because of this element. It's a bit wider, and here it's more of a certain shape. Probably a bigger jaw as well, longer face. Can you quickly describe the sharp teeth girl? Right, so Gwyn has quite a story to her. So originally Gwyn was a RWBY OC. So RWBY original character that I made. back when RWBY Remnants was RWBY Cherish, which was like a different iteration of the project. So Gwyn was originally intended to be one of the characters in that RWBY AU, but eventually, after I changed the plot and all that, where I started to rely less on original characters and focus more on using canon characters, Gwyn didn't really make the cut. She was originally meant to be part of a rival academy to like the actual academies in RWBY, where it's like rival academies that operate outside of the kingdoms. Basically, that was the idea. But eventually, that didn't come along. So eventually, she came back in. I always liked the design, so I did want to reuse her. So eventually, she came back to Our Spell is Steel, where she became one of the characters to sort of promote the game. And then now, she's returned in Project 1 as another of the characters. And given what I've learned about like reusing characters and all that, I'd probably be continuing to recycle her multiple times in the near future if I keep making different projects. But yeah, so her backstory has sort of like shifted around here and there. In Our Spell is Steel, she was like a half dragon, so she has the teeth because she's like has like dragon blood. That's why she has kind of like a weird complexion and hair color and sharp teeth and all that. And she generally has very strange behaviors because she was like raised by dragons, so she has very little concept of like human customs or things like social norms or personal space, things like that. But here, I'm not sure what her backstory might be. I'm not sure if there are like half dragon people in this universe, but I'm still keeping the idea of like this sort of feral child who's like raised in the wild, who then joins the society here and then becomes like one of the characters. That's the kind of story I want to make with her. Hey, Up Silver, welcome to the stream. Just sketching out more characters to use. Right. That was a bit too big. One thing I want to do though, because if anyone is like a RWBY fan who like consumes Project 1, Gideon is definitely gonna seem very much like a John type of character, although that wasn't really like an intentional choice, but he kind of most resembles him in that way. But I see him mostly being like a side character or being one of the other teams. because the last thing I want to happen in my Yuri centered story thing is to have it be hijacked by fan fiction. Well, not fan fiction rights per se, but just fans immediately clinging to the first quirked up white boy they see. So hopefully what happened with John and Ruby doesn't happen here. I did quite like this outfit. Let me just take it wholesale. I do want a decent amount of male characters in the lineup. It won't be 50-50, I think, but it will be at least an amount. His description, this is an old ass description from the old project that I did. Yeah, definitely outdated info, but I might rewrite what he actually does here. This goes behind. Right. This stance is a bit confident looking. He needs to have a bit of a slouch. The girl next to Gideon is Audrey. So Audrey has been in a lot of different projects as well. She's been in Deathless Lily mainly, just one of the Yuri focused projects, but she was also in that same project that Gideon was in. So if I pull it up, I'll find a file somewhere. Yeah, she was in this one, which also she had like a very different backstory in this one as well. So, but yeah, this was one of her earlier incarnations, basically. And in this one, I might recycle some bits of it, like her backstory being that, like, she died and then in like some sort of accident or something, and then through some sort of contract she made, she got revived. So that's sort of the basic idea I had for it. So I might recycle that here as well. Yeah, he's originally from New York, cause that particular story was like, it's more like a classic urban fantasy kind of deal, you know, like where there's like a secret supernatural world underneath our own, that kind of thing. So that was kind of his backstory at the time. So Project 1 is taking place in its own fantasy world. Just to make that clear. No, there is no Brooklyn in this one, so that was just his old backstory that I had for him. It is, although it's like kind of like one of those. Well, yeah, I guess it is pretty much like its own fantasy worlds, like how like how Remnant is its own fantasy world. Kind of thing, even though it shares like a lot of common elements with our own. Okay, I like this pose. Use this. I did like this little book thing that he had. So I guess it has more feeling of, I guess, a scholar always taking field notes. Little book sheath. Right. If you hear like a rumbling sound, it's probably the neighbor. I think it's their car or something. Right. Right. I guess since even as early as, this project where Gideon was from, I always wanted to experiment with that kind of idea of that kind of supernatural paranormal setting, or like a magic school setting, which is sort of what it keeps evolving from, like Spell of Steel and Project 1 and all those other projects that I did. So reusing the same characters for the same type of general premise makes sense in hindsight. Probably have to go back and adjust the design of some of the others, because he's had a fair amount of design work put in already, so he looks quite a fair bit more distinct than the others, because of just like not just his appearance, but like just the way he wears his uniform as well feels quite unique, with the hoodie and the book sheath thing he has. It showcases a lot more personality. It's just something I want to try to maintain for the other characters as well. The Yoko Taro reuse characters, the only one I know that he did is like Emil, and Emil is kind of like, I guess, like his author avatar, the one with the the big smiley face that he always wears. I know that character always appears in the different games. I don't know about the rest though. Yeah, and Final Fantasy does it with like Sid and the Chocobos and all that. It does happen, but I've only really seen it with like singular characters that sort of like become like mainstays of the franchise. I've not seen it as often as like what like MiHoYo or what was the other one, or like Fate does with like the characters they have. Where it's like the entire cast can be like recycled times. Right, that's why. Interesting enough, one trope I noticed with like some like anime, namely like, you know, those types of anime that have like this sort of battle school premise. Like one of the famous ones, I guess, is like Asterisk War or like any of those other types of anime. The uniforms tend to be a little bit like unbalanced at times, meaning that the guys normally have like relatively okay looking uniforms, and then the girls have like something really like skimpy usually, or really flashy. There's one that comes to mind, but I forgot what it was called. It was the one where the main character was like a teacher there, and then all these all the female students had like this midriff thing with suspenders or something like that. But I mean, for here there will definitely be some characters who wear their uniforms a certain way, but if they do, I do want it to be more as a result of their like individually, to point out something about the character's personality or traits, instead of the kind of the weirder reasoning, which is somehow that the skimpy uniform is standard issue for all students. And I think, if there's more guy characters, there probably could be more opportunities to have guys wear their uniforms in a more skimpy manner as well. Like, you know how Sun has like just a shirt open. So we'll see how that goes along the line. He seems alright. And that is correct. Sorry. Let me expand this even more. Yeah, I think it was Akashic Records. Let me check. Yes, it actually was that anime. Yeah, you are correct. So let me change real quick. So it was this one. The dude's like a teacher or something, and the female students all have this particular outfit. What did I want to point out? I don't think there were like any male characters or male students to compare them to against this guy. But yeah, it's like that kind of phenomenon that I've observed. Asterisk War, I guess, was not as bad in that respect. Kind of relatively same-ish but it does depend. It does depend on the show. But one thing that they sort of fall into as well is just that it can end up looking kind of generic as well, because like that you can almost sort of like know when like an anime kind of has a generic look to it nowadays. Not that I've like watched enough to really like give an informed opinion on that, because I don't really watch much anime nowadays, but you can kind of tell basically. And I hope not to get into that pitfall too much. I'll say my art style does help in that regard, but I hope to do something a bit more interesting. So okay, do a quick naming of the characters, right? So I can do that on a separate layer. So names, and then I'll expand this top part. So this is Alexis. Her name I'm not quite settled on, but for now she's Alexis. This is Xian, and she's like the tsundere wise type. This one's more of like the shy glasses girl type. This is Cat. Cat is sort of the playful trickster type. Gwyn is basically like Power from Chainsaw Man. Has no manners, is brash, likes fighting. It's very similar archetype. Fenoria is supposed to be like a confident senpai type, but very like stoic and serious. So she's like one of the hot shots at this place they're at. Stygia is kind of the cool goth type chick, a bit similar to Blake, I would say, if I had to make a comparison. This is Audrey, and Audrey is the bubbly, wholesome girl. Then this is Gideon. Gideon is, I guess, like the smart guy, smart everyman. The next that I wanted to draw is Sensei, and Sensei is one of the mentor characters who has been in a lot of different projects. So okay, so some backstory. Sensei, let me pull up some art of her real quick so you know who I'm talking about. So Sensei is this character. Sensei is this character. She is originally like a sort of magic teacher at a magic school, of course. And here, I'm not sure if it'll be like a school setting per se, but she's definitely gonna be like a mentor figure in the story. And her story is that she was one of my D&D characters. So, and if Lida and Joe are still here, basically it was in the same campaign that we were playing in, which was run by Joey. And in that campaign, I was playing Sensei, who was a magic teacher warlock class. So she had like a pact, a Fey pact, and I really liked her character because it was one of those characters that, you know, one of my first D&D characters that I ended up really liking because of just all the different adventures she got into, and just the fact that there's a lot of different stories and other characters she interacted with, some of which I know one of which is gonna probably appear in this story as well, with permission from the player. And ever since then, I've really liked Sensei and wanted to keep using her in like an actual story beyond like my D&D games, to sort of like make her canon in that sense. So that's sort of where she originated from. So she's just quite a special origin compared to the other characters. Yeah, I guess she's kind of like the Gojo equivalent, the hyper competent mentor who's like friendly but seems like very unassuming at first glance. And the fact that she just insists on everyone calling her Sensei, and the fact that she doesn't have, or rather that her real name is unknown, is one of those character hooks. Face shape right. I think it's because this eye is a little bit big. But yeah, she definitely encompasses that OP mentor type. So she's definitely a very powerful magic user that kind of just looks looks like a normal, like even like a normal mundane school teacher, and that's sort of what I find interesting about her. So she is going to be one of the I guess professional mages there. There's another mentor figure that I want to add, probably after this one actually. Probably at least one or two more. So here. Sensei, a lot of her design is influenced from what was her name? I think it was Azusa from what's that called? Idolmaster, which is one of those Ara type of characters, so that's kind of the general archetype she belongs to. And yeah, actually, if you have remembered or watched that Spell is Steel video, you would see Sensei there narrating the video, in fact. Yeah, she's character that I plan to have be quite prominent in the cast, simply because why I like Sensei a lot is also because she doesn't feel like a character I would have like naturally came up with on my own, because had I just created her in a vacuum, I feel like she would only be like an Ara type of character and not have that much depth to her. But because I played as her in like D&D, and of course D&D is like a very improvisational game where you sort of make things up on the spot, including certain character traits and what happens to them. Ended up giving Sensei a lot of like depth and interesting quirks that I would not have like arrived at if I had just used my own imagination to think up of her. So that's kind of why I liked getting into like role-playing games in general, is because of its potential for like this type of spontaneous storytelling that can sort of expand the types of stories you can tell. It's very like in some unexpected ways. But yeah, she's in the Oasis video. It's not that hard to find on my channel. She is just constant comfy vibes. Hey Wolf, welcome back. Save it. working? Yes, welcome. Thanks for coming after work then. He had to sacrifice his gacha dailies to come here, so I appreciate the sacrifice. Welcome back to the stream. Just designing more characters. Yeah, one of the few male characters here, Wolf. I talked a bit about him before, just a few minutes ago. But it's still gonna be like a 90-10 split of female to male characters. But I hope that the few male characters that make the cut are interesting enough in your own right. So for her, another reason why I like Sensei is because her design is easy peasy. She just wears cardigan. Okay, that works. That's Sensei. Not sure if I'll have a design for this other one quite as soon. It doesn't really have that finished a design yet, but I'll take a shot at designing him. So let me see if I can find the one single sketch I did of him. He was in, not here. Right, so the next one I'm drawing is Master Ofan, and he is, I'm thinking he's kind of the quote-unquote headmaster of the place, and he's sort of like one of those high rank mage type people. However, I've not really designed him much at all, so I'll need to probably be spending quite a bit of time trying to figure him out. Just do this. Yeah, so this guy is Ofan. Kind of tentative. It's either like Ofan or Ofan, but it's like one of those names. That goes into that layer. Actually, he's a fair amount taller than all the rest here, so I might need to raise everything by an amount. Yeah, alright. Maybe not that tall. Okay, around here. And he's kind of based on a wide number of characters, but he's essentially like, you know, the Dumbledore Ozpin kind of character. Very kind of mysterious and hard to pin down. In some respects, some male characters are easier to draw because male characters they tend to have a lot more of these like big sharp features like the jawline and the nose, things like that, so it can be easier to get details of them right because there's just like a lot of like anchor points in their design that make it pretty easy to nail. Whereas like female characters, rather the way that I draw female characters, that they tend to have quite soft features, so even like the slope of the jaw and all that has to be like a certain shape. There's a bit more of a subtle art to it than with male characters, in my case at least. He is quite, I mean, in this, like, he's quite serious looking in the art I drew of him. Though if I want to be more of like, you know, like a Dumbledore or spin type of character, I do probably have to make him look a bit more approachable. I was thinking of some Gary Oldman Sirius Black type vibes as well. That was his character, right? Sirius Black. But yeah, like someone could be quite serious but fatherly as well. But yeah, he and Sensei, I did write some like scenes of them together. Oh, his head is way too big. Some scenes of him and Sensei working together, and they kind of have this like serious man and cheerful woman dynamic. But Sensei is sort of like the equivalent of the Glinda here. Of course, Glinda is a way, it's sort of like reverse, because Glinda is like the more serious character, but Osbin is like more lighthearted. It's kind of more like reversed here. Welcome to the stream with me. Let's see. Stronger pose. But yeah, I did want to at least make one like a Silver Fox type character, because I do wanna gather Sims from all walks of life that would enjoy the types of characters I would make, and one that I do like on occasion to make is like older men like these. It's not often, but it does happen. Idea of his outfit yet, so I might leave it blank for now. Because I wanted actually some sort of variance of power dynamic in this world between like the characters here, because typically in these types of setting, the headmaster character is like way more powerful than everyone else. So like Ospin or Dumbledore, those types of folks. But here I wanted it to be an element I wanted to explore where there's some aspects where Ophan is definitely like very strong, like one of the strongest mages around, but there are actually some aspects where Sensei is like superior in certain types of magic or just in how she tackles her problems. Which, you know, if someone is sort of the deputy headmaster or vice headmaster, whatever rank she holds, obviously she needed to be one of the most powerful as well. And in many respects, Ophan is far from the most powerful character, which I think would be interesting to explore, because the idea of like the OP headmaster character is already sort of explored in detail in other works. And I need to just really check Pinterest for a bit, see what outfits I can get. Let me do a quick browse. So right. It seems alright, I guess. Do some basic shapes to suggest the form. VTuber Summit, what is that? Indie VTubers. What's going on over there then, Lai? Are they having like a stream or something? Is it like a... Oh, okay, let me check. Let me just check it real quick before going to stream. Oh, well, I'll check it out later then. It's a video. Shall we? Haven't had a chance to check out. I mean, I did watch their debut streams, but haven't had a chance to check out like all their other streams after that. It'll take me a while to get used to them. It took me quite a while to get used to second gen as well. But so far I liked Narissa the most. So I already subscribed to her, so maybe I'll try to catch more of her streams. Right. Okay, so that's... I might have to expand downwards, because a lot of characters getting cut off at the waist here. So you can show off and design some of their bottom halves as well. Favorites from second gen. I probably like Mume the most, and Fauna. I think it took me a while to warm up to Crony, but I like her now too, and Bay as well. But I think my favorite is Mume from there, and then from Gen 1, my favorite is probably Ame. It's the one I watch the most. Something is up here. Right, which means we need to start to really quickly sketch out the lower half so everyone here. Here. Let me just really quickly sketch them out. Characters shorter than I would expect, because now I know where their feet kind of lie, and Gwyn is a lot shorter than that. Right. small little being. What's for lunch? I don't know. I'll probably go out and eat. It's a mama nearby. I normally go and eat there if I need lunch. Okay. And this nut, boots. Zen, I wanted to touch up my design real quick while I'm here. So for her, probably want to just wear like a plain t-shirt. Shorter as well. We'd adjust the heights based on. Must be higher. Be way up. Okay. What headphones? This is Sony. I got them online. I forgot what brands actually were, but they're pretty cheap. And any chance you could go through your thought process on how I take ideas about the stories I like and split them to your own take. So I guess it happens from watching and consuming a lot. So playing a lot of games, watching anime, stuff like that. But while watching, of course, if I watch it and I kind of get the sense of like, oh, this is a really cool idea, I wanna grab this for myself, then that's what I do. Or while designing them, I sort of recall what things I've played or liked. And in regards for each character, obviously like RWBY is a big reference point for me, so a lot of characters I make do have like are partly based on RWBY in some form or another, even if it's not super directly, and others are just from, you know, from all aspects of things that I enjoy. So from things like D&D to whatever thing I watched, or certain artists that I follow. So I guess more a matter of just making sure that you consume a wide variety of content because you know, from looking at content from a wide variety of sources, so it's not just anime, but like things like movies, like live action movies, video games, role-playing games, basically like a wide range of different styles of media. You'll end up having a much wider range of inspiration to take from as well. That's, I think, how I managed to like design characters the way I do, where hopefully they're not I do think that they're like kind of have a bit more variation to them than, let's say, comparing to a typical anime. I mean, I say that, but actually a lot of anime has very varied designs, like One Piece, all that. But I'm talking about, like, you know, at least the bare minimum. We're just comparing the bare minimum, I think, from consuming enough media that variation has informed itself in my designs. How much of your ideas from RWBY would you say comes from a drive to fix the things you disliked about how a character's story element was handled? So, I would say it's about kind of equal parts like and dislike. So, like, for example, let's say a character like Weiss. What I didn't like is sort of like aspects of Weiss's backstory, which is stuff like her sort of relationship with her father was not really fleshed out, and just like maybe I would have liked to see her interact more with certain other characters like Yang or Blake. So some of those choices I make when, let's say, making a Weiss type character is to sort of explore those unexplored avenues. So having her interact more with certain characters that she did not really interact with in the show as much, but a lot of it is also simply from the simple fact that I do like Weiss as a character, that I want to use her in like some of my works. So sort of like an equal mix, actually. And it depends for each character, of course. Some characters definitely are born from like a desire to improve on them is subjective, but more like to explore my own take on them. And a lot of them are just because I like the character a lot and I wanted to sort of make my own version, so that I can like make my own version to sort of like play around with in my own projects. Yeah, Fenoya's hair is one of the it's actually one of the reasons that she stuck around so long as a character. It's been quite a few years, but hairstyle is one of the reasons she's still around, because I like drawing it. Alright, I think at this rate probably gonna end up like just drawing them full body all together, all the way to the feet. We'll get to that later. Fan is just huge, I think. I need to resize him. Yeah, alright. Who else was I thinking of adding? Probably Savasa is the last one, so I can think of right now. So Savasa is another character from Deathless Lily. Let me find some reference for her. Liked Savasa because of her hairstyle as well. That seems to happen with a lot of my characters, but just I like drawing them because they have a cool hairstyle. This is one of them. I need to get like a proper reference of the hairstyle I want. This one. So character, she's a fair bit taller than the rest. And I guess Savasa's vibe is sort of like a kind of a delinquent type character. Do a little bit of redesigning for her here and there. We'll see. Maybe this. Do I use Pinterest for reference? Yeah. I do use Pinterest, but I also have like a lot of reference elsewhere. Like I have basically like a lot of reference images and videos on my hard drive. Basically anything that I find cool online, whether it's like piece of art or like a movie clip or a game trailer, I'll just like save it to my PC so that I can sort of remind myself that this inspired me. And yeah, it's like a delinquent for Heart of Gold, let's say. It's like the kind of athletic type. Big enough. Yeah. And this is the wrong layer. Alright. designing I want to do for her, but for now we'll stick. I'll see how much I can change. Mainly around the body area. I sort of already know how to draw her hair. Just pointy everywhere. Yeah, it's a lot of lasso tool and moving shit around, basically resizing. Because sketching is where I'm most confident with, like coloring, painting, anything else I'm very slow with, but sketching is, I mean, I've probably been doing sketching for like most of my life, so that's sort of where my strength lies. But don't ask me to color it, or else we're gonna be stuck on the same character for like 2 hours basically. Hello Floated Bomb, welcome to the stream. Just drawing a bunch of characters. Yeah, actually expanding the canvas was a good idea, because then you can do a bit more dynamic poses, knowing what the bottom half will look like. Everything's a little bit too big proportionally. Seems right. Not quite. Move that up. Okay. Alright, so for very particular shape to it. Let me see what I can find. She had this kind of shape to it. Get used to drawing her again. I think I forgot how to draw her hair. I think that should do. Right. What about her uniform? Seems alright. Let's see. Judging by your legs, is actually quite a fair bit taller than most. It's a bit large as well. Yeah, might even be 6 feet or more. Right. Design was also her tail. I might redesign her tail. It's kind of a hassle to draw before this, but I'll just maintain the old tail design for now. Yeah, it's just a tail that she uses to fight and cast magic with. No, not a fluffy tail. Sorry. Yeah, it could be wolf. It could be. We shall see. Okay. Probably might end stream soon. It's gonna be 2 hours, but let's figure out where to go from here. Because I think these are all the characters I can think of. Actually, I might want to add. Because I might want to add, of course, the characters that I drew in like the previous streams, namely if you remember, this girl. This girl from the previous streams, the one with the prosthetic legs. I'll probably include as well. Yeah, I'll need to probably draw her a bit more to sort of get used to her design, because she was created basically on stream, so I don't quite have as much of a proper attachment to her as I do to the rest of the characters here, but she can be an honorary character, why not? So I think I'll finish up by drawing her. Let's get the head size right. Then yeah, but drawing character lineups like this is one of my favorite things to do. This is just drawing characters standing while designing them like this. It's almost therapeutic in a way. The more I draw a character, the more they get like integrated into my style, meaning the more I can sort of like figure out how to draw them optimally, I guess, in a way that like I find unique. Because like for characters like Savasa and for like Fenoria and Cat and Zen, how I draw their hair took quite a long time to get right, to a point where I liked it enough. Cause Cat, let me see if I can find some old artwork of her. Cause for Cat, her hair has always kind of looked like this, but yeah, for So for example, this one, or like this one. So this character here. So you can see she kind of has the same hairstyle that has been maintained across her design over the years, but it took until like this current point where it's actually at a point where I really like how I draw her hair now, because of this whole sheet thing going on and just like more spikes. The silhouette is just more distinct compared to this one, where it's just mostly just straight hair. So it just takes a long time of like redrawing the character over and over to like find what sort of distinct element about them that I want to emphasize. So like Zen's hair as well, and all the other characters basically. Even at Fenoria. For Fenoria, she's a very old character. If I pull up like some of the really old sketches of her, you might be surprised at what you find, because she looked quite a bit different. So this is some of the original sketches of Fenoria. This is from 2014. It's 9 years ago, but this was like her original sketch, and you can see like the hair just has a less spiky appearance. It's just a bit, it's just a bit more on that fluffy side, but you can still see like the long side parts and the kind of forehead. So over time, that sort of evolved to what it is now, where not this one either, where now it's like it goes all the way out the sides of her hair, and then her features are just generally gone like even more sharp compared to here, where it's just like it's basically just like an exaggeration of the features. The more I sort of developed my style and understood how I wanted to draw the character. So that's an interesting aspect, where, because I mean that's why I was quite hyped at the prospect of reusing old characters, because these are characters whose designs I've like cultivated and refined over like many years, which is why they look as good as they do. I don't just like come up with this magically. They took like a lot of years to look like they do. Though some I do hit goal pretty early, like for Savasa here. Savasa was a relatively new character. If I pull up, so one of the earlier sketches of her, which I just showed, but I got rid of it. So this is one of the earlier sketches of her. So you can already see like the shape of her hair and all that is already kind of noticeable already, and the eye shape is not too different from how she is now, and that's just because of like, I guess, evolution of my style has already kind of reached a point where I sort of know how to design these characters in the way I like, which is like for all the sharp hair and shapes and all that. So for this character, June, I do want to emulate parts of that as well to make her as distinct as possible in my style. So funniest thing, actually, since you mentioned Fenoria, is I hope I have may not have the art on me right now, but Fenoria was entirely based on one single character, whom, if I still remember their name, yeah, so Fenoria is based on one character from Etrian Odyssey, which is like a Japanese RPG, and it's based on one of the preset characters, which is Headmaster. So if you recall the art I showed off just now, you will see that where the hell is it? Yeah, you will definitely see like where the similarities are. So like if you compare them side by side, things like the long robes and the patterns and just the shape of the hair. So we basically based Fenoria on this character from Etrian Odyssey. So even here as well. But then of course it took a lot of time to cook in the oven until she got to a point where she's basically like a completely different character now. Like if you didn't know about the reference, you probably wouldn't know that she was based on her, basically. And look at a second time. Her body is a bit big, no wonder she's so tall. I need to size it down a bit. June. So parts of June are based on certain characters. One of them so one of the characters that I'm basing June on is Sawatari from Chainsaw Man. So it was this character. So that's kind of the main idea I had for this character. That's sort of like what I initially based it on. So just like how I showed the Fenoria, it's gonna start out looking quite similar to the character that I based them on, but over time, hopefully, the more I draw them, the more my style sort of gets mixed into that character, and then she becomes like her own distinct thing, basically. this will probably end the stream, because there's a bunch of other work I need to get done. Some new progress has finally been made on the next RWBY Remnants episode, so I need to get to editing it as soon as I can. So that's one thing on the to-do list, and then of course I'd like color all these characters. I still have to fully draw and design the gods that I showed off a few streams back. A lot of things basically. See what else, how else I could make this character a bit more distinct. Because I do want to have like a bit more variety in the character designs, because obviously with my own taste, I like drawing, you know, attractive characters, cute girls, that kind of thing. So, you know, I'm definitely not the type of artist who will go out of their way to really mega diversify the types of body types, skin tones, or facial structures of the characters. It's just it's not something I go out of my way to do. So I would at least like to try varying the character designs within the parameters I find interesting, at least. So things like other design elements, so like, you know, giving Savasa a tail, or just like types of hair, or like, you know, more like design elements, I guess. So not just the body type, but like other accessories, or the way the characters wear their clothes, that kind of thing. And of course like the prosthetic legs for June here. So that's sort of my approach to adding variety to my character designs. Another character type I wanted to make, but I've not designed them yet, so I have no idea what they look like. I might have to do that next stream actually, because what I want to design that I'm missing is a penny type character. So basically like a robot girl or something along those lines. I did have it in my to-do list that I wanted a character like that, because it would be pretty interesting to see such a character in this world, who is basically like either like a kind of alchemical construct, or someone who's like whose soul inhabits like a metal and artificial body, like in Full Metal Alchemist, for example. So obviously that's a character that would very much fit in this type of magical setting, so I wanted to design that Penny character. So I might save that for next stream perhaps. The Savas has a real long tongue. I think she has a normal tongue. There are, well, in some other, what do you call it? In some other settings, since there were like half dragon people and all that, those guys would have had like long tongues and such. But I'm not sure if that species exists here yet. See what we can do with June. Stretching pose. Okay. Basic shape for now. Does June have take off side which is not fighting? Yeah. I would think she does. Like, you know, when she's at home or whatever. There was another character. Cause if you guys remember from one of the earlier streams, one of the earlier characters I drew was the one was originally based on RWBY, who had like the Assassin's Creed wand blade thing. I still like the idea of the character, meaning like they have the prosthetic arms that have the wand in it, and then like the way she fights. But the rest of the character design I'm not that attached to. So if there is one of the existing characters I could give the arm prosthetics to, I would probably give it to them instead. So I'll figure out who would get that at some point. And besides that, yeah, of course, there was this design as well for this character. I like the outfit. Maybe I might change the character up because, of course, her hairstyle is very similar to June's, and she was originally meant to be like the wise type character, but now I kind of already have Xian for that. So I might keep the outfit, but have it for someone else basically. So it's kind of like just how my character design works sometimes, where I'll make something that looks pretty much like a finished character, but then I'll sort of like switch things around because I'm not satisfied with it, or there's already something similar, so I have to sort of like move them around to other characters that have other distinct features, so that it sort of like kind of balances them out a bit. But yeah, other than that, I think we are done here for today. So just I guess recap everyone. We got I still need to redesign Alexis, our main outfit. So we have Alexis, Xian, Cat, Gwyn, Fenoria, Stygia, Audrey, Gideon, Sensei, Ofan, Savasa, and June, which comes up to a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 characters, which of course is a big number, but at which point then I'm gonna actually have to sit down and figure out, alright, which ones are the main characters, which ones are like, you know, maybe the B team, like the Juniper team, which ones, of course we already know that these two are the mentor characters basically, and which ones are, you know, other side characters from other teams and such like that. So it may seem a lot right now, but after we decide like the actual cast hierarchy, things should look more manageable, I think. But other than that, I think we are done for today's stream, or this week rather, because I need to get other work done. And so for next week, which is the same time, Tuesday for me, but I think for you guys it might be like Monday night, I think. And I'm just gonna continue working on project 1, maybe probably like maybe doing some writing or more drawing and like trying to color all these characters. But yeah, so I think that would be it. And for all of you who joined, thank you so much for joining and taking an interest in my art and Project One. Feel free to find more of my art on Twitter at Saitokun, or joining my Patreon or Discord server. I'm always online on Discord, so if you want to message me, you can, or you can just come to the server and see if I'm there. So thank you for coming, and I'll see you next week.